None of us are racist. I'm an EDL member. I'm a Tommy Robinson boy. I'm sick of the corrupt government telling us lies, blacking out. They're doing blackouts on news media. Look what's happening in Paris, France, Germany, Sweden.
All things that were reported.
Thousands of UK citizens recently convened for a significant rally echoing the chant, "We want our country back." The gathering started at Victoria Station in London and advanced to Parliament Square. This protest was organised to express concerns about the perceived threat of Muslim extremism. The event was spearheaded by Lawrence Fox, an English actor and broadcaster, and Tommy Robinson, a prominent far-right activist in the UK.
Stay back! We are back! Stay back! Stay back! Telling you, stay back! Stay back! Stay back! Don't push me! Don't push me! Stay back! Don't push me! Don't push me! Don't push me! Don't push me! Stay back! Stay back!
People, what you stand for. You are being used.
This rally was sparked by various recent incidents and growing fears within communities nationwide. Participants carried banners and chanted, demanding stronger government actions and community efforts to counter extremist ideologies. The chant, "We Want Our Country Back," was a response to current events and a broader statement about the perceived inadequacy of existing policies. In recent years, the UK has grappled with concerns about Muslim radicalism, which has become a significant topic of discussion across communities. People hold different views on how to address these threats, balancing security concerns with the principles of tolerance and inclusivity.
We'll talk about the protest camp in Oxford University. You've seen all these tents being pitched around colleges all over Britain, all over America. But Oxford University's passionate pro-Palestine protesters have packed up for the summer. I guess peace in Gaza can wait while the students head home for their holidays. It's pathetic, isn't it? There was a sort of legal threat from the college saying unless you pack up, there'll be trouble. But they had said resistance by any means necessary, that they would carry on and resist all efforts to stop their protest. But come the summer holidays, you know, they got to head home to their parents' mansions and off on their holidays in Greece and the south of France. It really is a bit pathetic. Let's talk to the chair of the National Jewish Assembly, Gary Mond. Welcome, Gary.
Thank you for having me.
What I think about this is that these students, and they're not all students, some of them are professional protesters, but, you know, they love to signal their virtue somehow or other. To be pro-Palestine is to be virtuous and wonderful. Look at us, look at us. We've pitched these tents, we will not be moved and we will not leave until there is peace in Gaza. Oh, wait a minute, it's the summer holidays. We're off. We pack up the tent. So this little spate of virtue signalling is taking second place to going off to the Riviera or Greece. These people, they don't really care. They just care about showing their idea of what they think is virtuous, isn't it?
Well, starting from first principles, I don't think students should be demonstrating at all.
Well, yeah, I agree with that.
They're heavily subsidised by the government. I appreciate they contribute £9,000 plus a year, but they're heavily subsidised by the government for their degrees. They should be there studying and trying to do as well as they can. And by the way, there are far too many universities and too many students in any event, because so many of them get degrees that don't help them in the workplace. But getting to the point about peace in Gaza, there's a simple way for there to be peace in Gaza. That is for Hamas to give up the hostages and to surrender. We have to understand that every single death in Gaza, be it a man, a woman, a child, is the responsibility of Hamas for what it did on the 7th of October. They are responsible for all the deaths in Gaza.
You never see these protesters talking about this. Down at the Glastonbury Festival, you know, all these pro-Palestinian flags. Didn't see any, you know, Stars of David flags in support of the hostages. It is so. I guess that's what I wanted to talk to you about, Gary. This strange idea that to be pro-Palestine, to essentially stick up for those murdering thugs of Hamas, is seen by particularly young people to be the right thing to do. To hate Israel is to signal your wonderfulness. What is that all about?
It's all about a development that's taken place in the last 20 to 25 years, where young people have become generally very hostile to anything that seems to be supporting the West, and Israel is top of the list. And this has led firstly to hatred of Israel, and sadly it's moved on to hatred of Jews. That's what it's all about. And unfortunately, the government, past government, has been doing nothing about it, in my opinion. They need to stop these marches, for starters.
There's some funny comments about this camp being packed up on social media. One said, resistance by any means necessary. excluding school holidays. And revolution postpones summer holidays in Tuscany and the Dordogne beckon. I mean, this is what this is all about. They're taking the summer off, having spent the last 3 months, not, as you quite rightly say, Gary, not doing their studies, just showing us how wonderful they are through the prism of anti-Semitic hatred of Israel.
I actually think it would be best if they went to Gaza to spend their summer holidays. I think they might learn something, particularly those who are gays and lesbians. They might not come back alive.
Yeah, we had some footage, but we thought it was too pathetic to show. It is, of course, from the most ludicrous organisation known to man, Queers for Palestine, gay people who passionately support the Palestinian cause, apparently unaware that if they went to Gaza, they'd probably chuck them off a multi-storey car park, or...
To understand these concerns, one must consider the historical context. Muslim immigrants from former British colonies like Pakistan, India and Bangladesh brought various Islamic traditions to the UK. These communities often settled in urban areas where they faced integration, discrimination and socio-economic challenges. As these immigrants settled, political Islamist groups began to rise. Influenced by the ideology of the Muslim Brotherhood and similar movements, these groups primarily focused on political activism rather than violent extremism. However, more recently, with the influx of immigrants, British society has seen the emergence of more radical ideologies, making the UK a focal point for radical preachers.
Under the laws of that land, imprison them for 10 years. Whereas if they went to Israel, they would be perfectly free to be gay because homosexuality is tolerated in Israel. In fact, it's embraced, whereas in Palestine, it's illegal.
Well, that's right. In Israel, they would also be able to participate in one of the numerous pride demonstrations that take place regularly across the country. It's not just Palestine or the Palestinian territories, as it may be referred to. It's also elsewhere in the Arab world, particularly in Iran. Well, Iran is a Muslim country. And there, I remember one of the previous Iranian presidents, Ahmadinejad, said there is nobody in Iran who is homosexual.
Wow, you can't argue with that. That's a bit like Queen Victoria saying there's no such thing as lesbians, isn't it? A kind of denial of the truth.
Exactly. So it isn't just Gaza and Judea and Samaria and the Palestinian areas they're in. It is a much broader concept, I'm afraid, across the Muslim world.
Gary, this was sort of fairly a light-hearted piece about kind of essentially a serious subject. If you're around next week, I wouldn't mind getting you on to talk about what looks to be a nascent conflict perhaps in the north, Israel perhaps going against Hezbollah. Just quickly, where do we stand with that?
There's a lot of talk of it all being delayed. This is my personal opinion, I think that Israel is going to wait for the Trump presidency. Yeah. I think that it's too much to handle with Gaza at the moment. It's got what it perceives to be a hostile White House with Biden there. I think the smart money is on Donald Trump being the next president, who's going to take a somewhat different attitude to the whole matter. And I think you might see things flare up in the north in early 2025.
Yes, President Trump genuinely stands with Israel, and so do many of us, Gary. Great to talk to you. Thank you very much. Gary Mond there, Chair of the National Jewish Assembly.
In response to radicalisation, the UK introduced the PREVENT strategy, which aims to stop people from becoming radicalised. However, PREVENT has been controversial, facing criticism from some communities for allegedly unfairly targeting Muslims. Despite these criticisms, Muslim communities and organisations have actively worked to counter extremism through education, community engagement and cooperation with law enforcement.
The word illegal means no right to be here.
Protest in a holiday coastal town out of season this weekend. Far-right nationalists descended on the Lincolnshire town of Skegness to exploit local unease about hotels housing asylum seekers. A Home Office policy that has caused friction with locals who feel that their concerns are being ignored. At Saturday's march, some locals were among the 200 to 300 people who marched through Skegness to stage a rally in a local park. under the watchful eye of the police. But it was clear that some in the crowd didn't appreciate our presence.
Oh, make me 2 streets where you know.
Don't take us for fools! We know they are not refugees. They are illegal immigrants.
The march was attended by far-right groups from outside Skegness. One of those was Patriotic Alternative, a small group led by a former leading activist in the British National Party. And the group made leading speeches at the event. At this time of year, not a lot should be going on in the coastal resort of Skegness. Facing the North Sea, this seaside town is famously bracing, even more so in late February. But Skegness is one of a number of towns and cities, including holiday resorts, that the Home Office is using to house asylum seekers. There are around 220 asylum seekers housed in the town of 22,000. Some locals and businesses are concerned about the effect that the use of this seafront accommodation could have on the local economy and the town's image.
Both the threes, 33.
It's eyes down at the local social club where the punters are chasing a full house. But the housing of asylum seekers is something everyone is aware of.
We think that we're being put on with the amount of the asylum seekers what we've got. We're not saying we don't want any, but there is a lot. They should be shared out a bit better. And that sounds terrible, doesn't it? I don't mean it to.
The issue has been building locally for months. In November, a usually poorly attended council meeting became very rowdy.
I'm the Mayor's chaplain, so I turned up to bless the council. And there's usually 15, 20 people in there in the public spaces. Well, there were considerably more than that. And it very quickly degenerated into people just shouting and bawling and being quite unpleasant. So the meeting was abandoned and the mayor and the town clerk and the councillors left. But the majority of people at that meeting, I would say, were not local. I know a lot of the local people, and there were accents and people there I'd never seen before.
At the local Anglican church, St Matthew's, churchgoers are celebrating the beginning of Lent, but it seems everyone in the town is aware of the asylum controversy.
The peace of the Lord be always with you.
The rector of Skegness, Richard Holden, has seen the tensions develop over the last few months firsthand.
I think if it's going to affect local businesses, I think that's a legitimate concern. So our economy is based on holidaymakers. So if that's damaged, that damages the town. So I think that's a legitimate concern.
And what's not legitimate?
I think it's not legitimate to say that they're coming and they're standing outside the school gates, that they are going into the local nightclub.
Fear and frustration over extremist threats have sometimes fueled anti-Muslim sentiment and Islamophobia, leading to social tensions. Events such as the rise of the English Defence League, EDL, and other far-right groups have highlighted these issues. The EDL formed in response to what its members see as the growing influence of Islam in the UK has been involved in numerous protests and rallies. The recent rally in June drew thousands of UK citizens concerned about the threat of Muslim extremism. The participants, led by Lawrence Fox and Tommy Robinson, gathered at Victoria Station and marched to Parliament Square. They carried banners and chanted slogans calling for stronger governmental actions and community initiatives to curb the influence of extremist ideologies. Many participants expressed their concerns about community safety and the need for a more robust approach to prevent radicalisation, particularly among young people.
And being a nuisance or that they're unpleasant to anybody. I've never found them unpleasant. You do see them walking around, and they walk around in 2s and 3s, and I think when people have actually been aggressive to them, I think it's probably sensible to walk around in 2s and 3s.
The asylum seekers we spoke to did not want to speak on camera. One told us the police visited them at the hotels to brief them ahead of the protest. Businesses in Skegness want a policy rethink.
It's the government's problem here. They made a right mess of it. They shouldn't have done what they've done. I mean, it's costing, the amount of money it's costing per day is ridiculous. When you've got a cost of living crisis, but we're spending all this money on hotels for asylum seekers, when you've got all these old MOD sites which are standing empty. I mean, you know, it's just crazy, just beggars belief.
And who's benefiting from all of this?
There are companies and individuals from London and Birmingham. Nobody can find out exactly who they are. It's all clothed in secrecy, etc. So they're the ones that are making the money. They've suddenly come in, bought up these hotels and done this deal with the government or Serco or whoever it happens to be. And they're getting ridiculous amounts of money. And we know what will happen. As soon as the government decides to move them away, these guys will suddenly disappear and we'll never see them again. And then these hotels will be left to rack and ruin.
The local MP has spoken out against outsiders marching through Skegness and inflaming the issue.
I share a lot of the concerns that local people have in Skegness and around the country about the use of hotels for people seeking asylum. It doesn't seem to me that it is the right place for people seeking asylum, and it doesn't seem like it's the right place, the right thing to be doing with hotels themselves either. But that's not the same thing as saying people with those concerns have the same ambitions or the same agenda as people like Patriotic Alternative and the far right.
For some people in towns all over the country, there are concerns about the impact on local services and business of placing asylum seekers in hotels. But as Saturday's march in Skegness showed, genuine concerns can be seized on by those who seek to stir up hate. Sometimes
organisers emphasised that the rally was not an indictment of the Muslim community as a whole, but a call to address the specific issue of extremism that poses a threat to national security. This distinction was crucial in understanding the rally's motivations and the message the participants aimed to convey. The event drew a diverse crowd, including victims of past attacks, community leaders and ordinary citizens who shared a common goal of ensuring a safe and secure environment for all.
This small village in England is divided as dozens of asylum seekers have been moved into a local hotel.
It's turning us into racist people, which I don't want to be racist, but it's making me dislike these people.
These poor people that have gone through hell need somewhere to go to.
Some villagers have been holding protests. One turned violent and a local man was charged after a police officer was injured.
Save Kegworth!
What do you think the village needs saving from?
Just 250 strangers that we don't know anything about.
Kegworth is a sleepy village. Most people know each other. It's a very small community.
Kegworth is great, so it's a really nice community spirit.
From sleepy to strife, a community in conflict.
Get out! Cheeky!
This village on the edge of Leicestershire, population 3,500, has found itself bitterly divided over the arrival of around 100 new residents.
They've been dropped in a village where there's literally nothing to do. Things have changed completely and it has caused a divide in the village.
The guys have come from war-torn countries. They want to feel safe and welcomed and contribute to the community.
This is what caused the clashes. There aren't many facilities in Kegworth, but the U Lodge was one of them. It's a family-run hotel with a gym, a pool and a popular restaurant. But last month, without much notice, all bookings were suddenly cancelled and all the signs to the hotel were covered over because the owner had signed an exclusive contract with the Home Office to use the hotel for asylum seekers.
Small village, big problem!
And its local communities feeling the fallout. This is Operation U Lodge, a campaign group that's been holding regular demos.
People are just scared to walk the streets now.
What are you scared of?
Well, we don't know because we don't know anything about these people.
They're marching to the home of the man who owns the hotel. He's a local businessman. He's well known locally because he's owned that hotel for 25 years and is friends with some of the residents. The owner, Jeremy Pick, hasn't responded to our requests for an interview. The villagers say he's refused to answer their concerns. But as they shout their slogans, some passers-by start arguing with them because they say they don't support their protest.
It's this populist politics that we've got now, that's what worries me. Everyone's polarised. Nobody talks to each other anymore. And it's Donald Trump politics, isn't it?
Personal testimonies such as those from Tommy Robinson added a deeply personal dimension to the rally. Robinson criticised the police for their handling of cases related to extremism and exploitation. He recounted how he felt let down by the police in 2012 when they refused to take DNA evidence from his son, dismissing the case as a missing person report, which he later found to be false. At Parliament Square, the crowd gathered to watch Tommy Robinson's documentary Lawfare, which critiques what he views as an uneven policing system. The screening sparked discussions on law enforcement methods and societal fairness. The atmosphere was charged with energy as loud, hard rock music played, resonating with the crowd through powerful lyrics such as "I Want My Country Back." The rally, adorned with Union Jack flags, also saw addresses from notable figures like YouTuber Kay Benjamin, who spoke about his controversial interview with former Prime Minister Liz Truss and the challenges he faced as a result.
Why they're chanting "Save Our Children"? I don't know why they're chanting that. Save them from what?
In Kegworth, one of those waiting for his claim to be heard is Hassan, who told me he escaped the war in Syria. He asks us not to show his face because his family are still living under the regime.
And every day, bombs, every day, we were seeing our friend dead, our relative dead.
Some people think that you get lots of money, you get benefits.
I don't think Syrian come here to get money. We left the war. We don't think in this way.
He gets emotional as he tells me he didn't want to fight for the government or for the opposition groups.
We escaped from our country because I don't want to kill anyone, so I left my country.
But every week outside his temporary new home, there have been rowdy rallies.
Yeah. They say, save our village. I don't know. Save our village from what? From the human? I just want to tell you that I am human.
The protests have caused deep divisions. On social media, rumours are rife.
I had my phone stolen, but it was before they actually came to the village. But it was all over the social media that it was them, and it wasn't them. It's just like everything with Facebook, it snowballs.
What shoe size do you wear?
40.
40? Oh, what's that in English?
On the other side of the divide, Operation Open Arms Kegworth, residents who have set up a group to welcome their new neighbours.
I'm learning about their culture, I'm learning different languages, I see their families sometimes virtually or photos, and they've met my baby, and yeah, it's changed my life a lot. It makes you realise how lucky you are.
There are some people who are very hostile to the guys being here. How do you deal with that? You know, you've been labelled lefties and do-gooders.
I think people are entitled to have different views, and some people can think that they shouldn't be in our village, but still that they're people who need help, whether they should be in our village or whether they think the government should have housed them somewhere else isn't really relevant.
More than 50,000 asylum seekers are stuck in hotels. The Home Office says the system is under incredible strain and that they'll work with local authorities to ensure the arrangements are safe for local people and for the hotel residents. But they admit there's no deadline to end their use. And so, villagers in Kegworth and their new arrivals have no idea how long they'll be staying.
On social media, people from various countries expressed their support for the British, asserting that they deserve to reclaim their country and oppose the Islamic transformation of society. Some argued that all European nations need to protect their homelands from what they describe as a mass invasion. The Metropolitan Police released a statement detailing their observations of the rally, noting the presence of individuals with a history of involvement in violent incidents and associations with factions across London and the UK. The Police also noted the presence of individuals previously involved in anti-lockdown protests and related disturbances. Commander Lutero emphasised ongoing discussions with protest organisers ahead of the event. Our priority, he stated, is to enable peaceful protests, ensuring safety for participants in both the march and counter-protest. This commitment highlights the importance of maintaining order while protecting the well-being of all involved. A Metropolitan Police spokesperson reiterated, all Londoners have a right to feel and be safe in their city, and we will take a zero-tolerance approach to any racially or religiously motivated hate crime we become aware of. This rally serves as a reminder that many individuals in Britain are deeply committed to protecting their nation from potential risks, including concerns over Islamist influence. Engaging in transparent discussions and cooperative initiatives is essential to addressing these apprehensions while upholding democratic principles and respecting the rights of every individual. As this dialogue continues to unfold, the rallying cry against Muslim extremism reflects the UK's commitment to security and social cohesion. Balancing vigilance with respect for diversity remains a significant challenge. Moving forward, it will be crucial for policymakers, community leaders and citizens alike to navigate these waters with sensitivity and clarity, ensuring a safe and inclusive society for all. This endeavour requires ongoing dialogue, community engagement and the development of policies that address the root causes of extremism without alienating any segment of the population. Promoting education and awareness is equally important, fostering a deeper understanding of the UK's diverse Muslim communities. The rally in London, with thousands of UK citizens chanting "We want our country back," was a significant event that highlighted the concerns and frustrations of many people. While it aimed to address the specific issue of Muslim extremism, it also brought to light the broader challenges of balancing security and inclusivity in a diverse society. The event underscored the need for ongoing dialogue, education and community engagement to create a safe and inclusive environment for everyone.
In the heart of a quintessentially English village in the home counties, a building which used to describe itself as the perfect location for a wedding, but not anymore. Most of the signage has been taken down, but it's no secret this is a hotel, which is now being used to house dozens of asylum seekers, much to the consternation of some locals.
They don't know where they're from, they don't know the backgrounds, they see them in groups of men and just probably feel uneasy.
Do you think it's changed the atmosphere in the community?
I think, yeah, people, because I speak to a lot of locals in the village, they usually let their kids roam around the village at night, you know, when they play with the bikes. Now some of them are like thinking twice.
Mo Tariq is an estate agent. He says the arrival of asylum seekers has caused rent prices to drop.
I feel like maybe we should have some system in place, something for them to do here, because what often happens, in my view, from where I'm sitting, is that they will just stand around and they look like almost that they have nothing to do.
In fact, the asylum seekers tell us they're bored and unhappy. They're not allowed to work whilst waiting for their claims to be processed, and that can take a long time. This man from Eritrea has been in the system for 8 years.
For me, it's absolutely terrible. It's not good. It's not good. Just leave, just eat, go back to the room. Just eat, go back to the room.
That's your day. You eat, go back to your room.
Yes, that's all day.
There's a backlog of nearly 40,000 asylum seekers who've made it to the UK. Their accommodation is costing taxpayers £5.5 million a day. Abdullah is from Tanzania.
I'm not happy in the hotel and I'm not happy in this whole situation about Home Office. Because Home Office, they send me message to grant me about accommodation and support. But they didn't give me enough support.
Some people may say that if you're unhappy with the food, you're unhappy with the accommodation, why don't you return to Tanzania? Because Tanzania is a safe country.
So when I go back to home country, I'm gonna die. They're gonna kill me.
Who's gonna kill you?
Society and government as well. Because I have a problem against the society and government.
What's the problem?
I'm gay, man.
It's not lost on the asylum seekers that some people find their presence intimidating. But whilst they're stuck in the immigration system, there's little opportunity to integrate. Lisa Holland, Sky News.
In the aftermath of the rally, public discourse continues to evolve. There is a growing recognition of the need to address the root causes of extremism through comprehensive strategies that include social integration, economic opportunities, and community cohesion. It is also clear that fostering mutual understanding and respect among different cultural and religious groups is vital for long-term peace and security. As the UK navigates these complex issues, the role of the government, law enforcement and civil society will be crucial. The PREVENT strategy and other counter-terrorism measures will likely continue to be debated and refined. Ensuring that these strategies are effective, fair and inclusive will be a key challenge. The rally also highlighted the importance of community-led initiatives in countering extremism. Many Muslim organisations and leaders have been at the forefront of efforts to prevent radicalisation, often working closely with local authorities and law enforcement. These efforts include educational programmes, youth engagement and interfaith dialogues that promote peace and understanding. Moreover, the media's role in shaping public perception and discourse about extremism and national security cannot be overlooked. Responsible reporting that avoids sensationalism and fosters informed debate is essential in building a cohesive and resilient society. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and for more content like this, be sure to subscribe to the channel.